Good evening, friends. I am Professor S.S. Jadhav. Today we discuss next topic, that is unit number 7, mass transfer. So, first of all, what is meant by mass transfer? What is meant by mass transfer? So, before that, what is meant by heat transfer? So heat transfer is takes place because of the temperature difference. Heat transfer is takes place because of the temperature difference. If in a system, if there is a temperature difference, then heat transfer is takes place. In that way, what is meant by mass transfer? So mass transfer is takes place from one location to another location when there is a concentration difference. What is meant by mass transfer? Mass transfer is takes place because of the concentration difference. Suppose consider one consider or one system. In that system, in the half portion of that system consists of molecules and A molecules, and second section consists of molecules of B. That is, we have to consider this diagram. So in this diagram, so in this section there are molecules of A, and in this section molecules of B. Then what will happen? So what is meant by mass transfer? So in this section concentration of molecules is higher, and in this section concentration of molecules is lower. So mass transfer is takes place from this high concentration region to this low concentration region, this high concentration region to low concentration region. So that is nothing but mass transfer. So what is meant by mass transfer? The process of transfer of mass, the process of transfer of mass as a result of the species concentration difference. The process of transfer of mass as a result of the species concentration difference in a system is called mass transfer. So what is meant by mass transfer? So mass transfer is takes place because of the concentration difference. So mass transfer is takes place from the high concentration region to the low concentration region, high concentration region to the low concentration region. So what are the examples of the mass transfer? So first example is evaporation of petrol in the carburetor of an IC engine. So IC engine consists of carburetor. So in the carburetor, what will happen? Evaporation of petrol is takes place. So in the evaporation, what will happen? The mass of petrol is transferred, or petrol is transferred in the form of vapors. So that is nothing but mass transfer is takes place of the vapors of the petrol. That is nothing but mass transfer. What is the another example? Humidification of the air in the cooling tower. So in the humidification is takes place in the air in the cooling tower. In that there is a mass transfer is takes place. So what are the day to day life examples of the mass transfer? So that is dissolution of sugar added to a cup of coffee. Suppose we have to consider one cup. In that cup there is a, we have to put that water, and we have to add that coffee into the water. What will happen? Dissolution of that coffee. We have to consider one cup, and in that cup there is a water and coffee. We have to put that sugar into that cup. What will happen? Dissolution of sugar in that cup is takes place. Dissolution of sugar is in that cup is takes place. Next example, diffusion of smoke through tall chimney into the environment. So in the sugar industries there are tall chimneys are there. So what will happen? Through that chimney the smoke is removed. From that chimney smoke is removed. So this smoke will be mixes in the air. So in this way mass transfer is takes place, that is diffusion of smoke through tall chimneys into the environment. So this smoke will be diffused into the air. So in that way mass transfer is takes place. In that way mass transfer is takes place. So these are the day to day life examples, that is dissolution of sugar added to a cup of coffee and diffusion of smoke through tall chimneys into the environment. So these are the day to day life examples of the mass transfer. So mass transfer is takes place because of the concentration difference, because of the concentration difference, and his mass is transferred from high concentration region to the low concentration region, high concentration region to the low concentration region. So next point, modes of the mass transfer, modes of the mass transfer. So basically there are three modes of the mass transfer. So first one, mass transfer by the diffusion. Second one, mass transfer by convection, mass transfer by convection. And third, mass transfer by change of phase, mass transfer by change of phase. So what are the modes of the heat transfer? That is conduction, convection and radiation. In that way what are the modes of the mass transfer? That is first one diffusion, then second one convection, and third one because of the change of phase, because of the change of phase. That is mass transfer by diffusion, mass transfer by convection and mass transfer by change of phase, mass transfer by change of phase. Now we discuss first mode of mass transfer, that is mass transfer by diffusion. So in that mass transfer by diffusion, in that there are two types: mass transfer due to the molecular diffusion, mass transfer due to the molecular diffusion, and mass transfer due to the ED diffusion, mass transfer due to the molecular diffusion and mass transfer due to the ED diffusion. So first of all we see the mass transfer because of the molecular diffusion. So what is mean by molecular diffusion? So consider one example. So in this example, so we have to consider one container. In that container there are two sections, that is A section and B section, A section and B section. So A section consists of A concentration molecules, A section consists of low concentration and B section consists of high concentration. Means what? The molecules present in the B section is more as compared to the molecules present in the A section, and in between these two sections there is a wall. If we are removing this wall, what will happen? So these high concentration molecules will move into the low concentration molecules. So mass transfer is takes place from the section B to A, means high concentration to the low concentration. So what is meant by molecular diffusion? So this molecular diffusion is nothing but microscopic phenomenon. So we have to considering the molecular sections of the system, molecular sections of the system. So these molecules will transfer from the one section, that is high concentration section, to the low concentration section. So in this way mass transfer is takes place, because of the molecules will move from the high concentration region to the low concentration region. So this type of mass transfer is because of the diffusion, because of the diffusion. So this is nothing but mass transfer because of the molecular diffusion, mass transfer because of the molecular diffusion. Next, in the diffusion, mass transfer by the ED diffusion, mass transfer by the ED diffusion. So what is mean by ED diffusion? So ED diffusion is depends on the flow, ED diffusion is depends on the flow. So what are the types of the flow? That is laminar flow, turbulent flow, transition flow. So these are the types of the flow. If suppose there is a turbulent flow, then easily mass transfer is takes place. So in the turbulent flow the motion of molecules is higher, motion of molecules or speed of the molecules is high. Because of that, what will happen? Mass transfer is easily takes place. Mass transfer is easily takes place. So ED diffusion, it depends on the flow. So if flow is turbulent, means what? Easily mass transfer is takes place. Easily mass transfer is takes place. So what is the example related to that? That is, smoke is disappears in atmosphere. Smoke is having turbulent flow. So if turbulent flow is there, then easily mass transfer is takes place. Smoke is disappears in the atmosphere. So in the atmosphere there is air, and this smoke is disappears in the atmosphere. So there is a mass transfer is takes place. In that we have to considering the ED diffusion, means what? We have to considering the flow, and because of that flow, mass transfer is takes place. So first mode of mass transfer, that is diffusion, and because of that diffusion, mass transfer is takes place from the high concentration region to the low concentration region. High concentration region to the low concentration region. Next mode, that is mass transfer by convection. Mass transfer by convection. So this is the microscopic phenomenon. This is the macroscopic phenomenon, and in this phenomenon we have to considering the bulk velocity. We have to considering the bulk velocity. So in this case, in what way the mass transfer is takes place? That is, it involves transfer between a moving fluid and surface. So we have to considering the liquid surface, and from that liquid surface, if air is moving, from that liquid surface air is moving, then what will happen? That air will moving with itself by the water. Through that air, some droplets of water is moving. Means what? Mass transfer is takes place from that surface of the water to the air. We understood? That is, there is a water surface, and through that water surface air is moving. So at the time of motion of air, what will happen? The water vapors also moving through that air. So in this way mass transfer is takes place. In this way mass transfer is takes place. That is nothing but mass transfer by the convection. So we know the mode of heat transfer, that is convection. So what is meant by convection? Heat transfer because of the motion of the molecules, or heat transfer because of the mixing of the two fluids. Mixing of the two fluids, then heat transfer is takes place. That is nothing but convection heat transfer. In that similar way, there is a mass transfer is takes place. That is, if there is a surface and we have to moving the air, in that case there is also mass transfer is takes place. And if we have to mixing or between two relative immiscible moving fluids, immiscible moving fluids are there, we have to taking the mixture of that two immiscible liquids, in that case also mass transfer is takes place because of the convection. So the convection mass transfer depends on, whatever the mass transfer is takes place in the convection, it depends on the what? That is transport properties. Whatever the air is moving, what are the proper transport properties related to that? On that transport properties, this convection is depends. And dynamic characteristics, that is type of flow, that is laminar flow or turbulent flow, on that flow the convection mass transfer due to convection is depends. That is, convection mass transfer is depends on the transport properties and dynamic characteristics of the flowing fluid. So what is the example related to the mass transfer by convection? That is evaporation of the ether. In the evaporation of the ether, the mass transfer is takes place because of the convection. Because of the convection. Next, mass transfer by change of phase. Mass transfer by change of phase. So what is meant by mass transfer by change of phase? So mass transfer occurs whenever a change from one phase to another takes place. The mass transfer in a such case occurs due to simultaneous action of convection and diffusion. So mass transfer by change of phase is takes place, that is in this case simultaneous actions of convection and diffusion is takes place. Convection and diffusion is takes place. So that is nothing but mass transfer by change of phase. Mass transfer by change of phase. So what are the examples related to that? So hot gases escaping from the chimney rise by convection and then diffuse into the air above the chimney. So hot gases escaping from the chimney. So there is a chimney and from that chimney hot gases are removed. So hot gases removed from the chimney means by the convection, that is surface to motion, and then that vapors or that particles diffuse in the air above the chimney because of the diffusion. So there is a convection also and there is a diffusion also, that is heat transfer due to the phase change. So what is next example? Mixing of water vapor with air. Mixing of water vapor with air during evaporation of the water from the lake surface. So we have to considering the lake surface. So in this case what will happen? Mixing of water vapor with air during evaporation. So evaporation is takes place, at the same time what will happen? This water vapors mixes with the air, and so because of that mass transfer is takes place. Next, boiling of water in open air. Boiling of water vapor in open air means what? So water is converted into the vapors. So there is a change of phases takes place, and due to that phase change what will happen? That water droplets is moving into the atmospheric air. So that way mass transfer is takes place. So this is about the mass transfer because of the phase change. Because of the phase change. So what is meant by mass transfer? Mass transfer is takes place due to the concentration difference. Then what are the modes of the mass transfer? That is first mode, that is mass transfer due to the diffusion. Second, mass transfer due to convection. And third, mass transfer due to the phase change. Mass transfer due to the phase change. So thank you.